I couldn't wait. Hey everybody, it's Romania Black. I'm sorry. I couldn't wait. I had to see episode 20. I'm like, I have to watch. I have to see it. I can't not. So, before we start this episode, I need to know about the twins. I need to know what this is. The preview didn't really give us much, so other than Shindo's still sick. Um, but that's pretty much it. So I have no clue what we're doing really going into this. But before we start, I do want to say that we're at episode 20. We have this episode, 21, 22, and 23. We have 4 episodes left. So around when episode 21 comes out next week, I am going to put out the poll to replace Run with the Wind. It's weird saying that because I've watched this show for like 6 months now. So it's weird to think that we're starting a new one. But I am going to put the poll out next week with episode 21. It's going to be through Patreon, I believe, but it's going to be a public poll, so anybody should be able to vote. If for some reason people have voting problems, then I'll figure out a way to fix that. But it's going to be a public poll through my Patreon, and so it should be open to anybody to vote. But it's going to be the replacement poll, and then by the end of episode 24, I'll have it running for episodes 21, 22, and 23. And when 23 comes out on YouTube, because there's only 23 episodes. So it's going to be 21, 22, and then when episode 23 comes out, that's when we'll close the poll. But, so 3 weeks. Enough time to vote. And I'll remind everybody in episodes 21 and 22 and 23 to go vote. But, so yeah. That's going to be out next week, the replacement poll. I'm going to keep it sports anime for this go around because I still want to see this show has been so inspiring that I'm not ready to give up my sports anime yet. So I'm going to keep sportish anime. Something involving a sport or a club. We'll put it that way. So I'm going to have some choices up next week, and I'll have a link to the Patreon poll then. But oh my gosh, you guys. We're only 4 episodes left. I always get this way when a series is ending. I don't want it to end, especially if it's something as good as this show. But we have to go on, right? So we have to move forward. We have to take Prince's words and forward. So that's what we're going to do. So anyway, I'm going to quit rambling. Episode 20, y'all. I'm so ready. But we're going to start it here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Dang. I don't normally cry in anime, and I said that last episode, but this one almost got me. Shindo. Shindo deserves all the praise in the world, y'all. I'm not kidding. Like that was so rough. I The idea that Shindo, when we had that flashback to episode 11 with him 8 episodes ago, and he was like, "I'm not strong." Like, what a load of crap. What a load of crap, because there's no way. There's no way that anybody could have as a sickness like he did and run 20 kilometers. I'm so glad that I know that they're going to be starting probably from the last position in not a good place. Um, but I'm glad that the race did stop with Shindo, all things considered, so they could start the next day fresh and that Shindo would have time to recover and it wouldn't be so tense. So that's good on that. But oh my god, and the fact that his family had to watch him on national TV, like struggling, no wonder they were freaked out, and the coach being like, "Look, you need to stop," and Shindo being like, "No, I got to keep going." And the fact that Shindo kept falling and getting back up and falling and getting back up is just. So I wonder if they're going to start with a handicap, if they're going to start the race tomorrow where whatever the gap is between runners, that's when they're going to let you start, which is going to make it's going to put a huge dent in Kansai having to catch up with them. But in the same vein, nobody's sick like Shindo was. So, and I feel bad for Joji too, because Joji was so caught up in this whole revelation about Hannah that he was like, I should have kept running. I should have ran harder to give you more time. I should have done more, and I didn't do it. And then him having hindsight of like, why was I focused on something so stupid? Why wasn't I just running because I knew you needed the extra time? And then we get the revelation about Haiji. Crumbs, more crumbs delivered, but more crumbs delivered. The fact that his dad was I wondered if his dad, if he was involved in track and if his family had something to do with it. I like the fact that he's like, so Kakeru, your name comes from running. Did your family name you for that? And he's like, well, my dad did track and field, but I don't really have a good relationship with him, so I don't think that's the reason. And then it sounds like Haiji doesn't have a good relationship with his dad either. The fact that his dad was the coach of him in high school and saw him break down like that and made him run every day, like constantly, and it just and like you said, it broke him. It broke him, and that was so devastating. Seeing that just dead look in his eyes, like he just didn't care anymore. Because the Haiji we normally are used to seeing Haiji so like bouncy and happy and all over the place and just excited, and that moment of seeing him just completely devastated and just empty it was like 5 seconds, and it just explained so much. And then you look back on episode 18 when he's talking to Fujioka in the flashback, and he's like, what did your dad tell you? And he's like, be patient. And that was it. And then he says the fact, he's like, well, that's more than he normally says. The fact that his dad's just that type of, it's the opposite of the coach that Kakeru had, but it's just as bad. Or it sounds just as bad. Like there's nothing encouraging about what he told Haiji. And it makes so much sense why Haiji is the way that he is. He's like, I know I'm not going to be like my dad was. I'm going to be idealistic and have these big dreams and go through with it. And the idea of him doing physical therapy and getting back to where he could run again. Man. And the jokes on his dad. And then I think Haiji would be such a good coach for a team and such a good leader for this. And it's so funny because his dad seems like was not like that at all. And it makes sense why Haiji knows Kakeru so well as a runner and as a competitor, because he had a very similar high school experience to Kakeru, except, obviously the injury. But his coaching, what he had to deal with, was very similar. Except it's funny because Kakeru didn't have someone like Fujioka. Kakeru had Sakaki, who was, not like Fujioka, and Fujioka was a supportive presence for Haiji. So, Haiji's been lucky to have somebody like Fujioka as a friend. And I'm wondering if that's going to come into play in the last couple episodes. I can't believe we have 3 left. We only have 3 left. We have 21, 22, and 23. I keep thinking that this is a 24-episode series. It's not. So sad. So, yeah. Realizing that there's only 3 episodes left instead of 4. 21, 22, and 23. I am going to put at the bottom of this link. I lied. There's a link at the bottom for the poll to replace Run with the Wind. I'm going to talk about it next week and the week after. But the poll is going to end when episode 23 premieres. So there's that. Man. Y'all. This show, this episode, I was all gung-ho and ready. I'm like, I'm going to jump into another episode because I can't wait. And now I'm like, I kind of need to, we've reached the halfway point of the race. I'm like, I need to decompress after that because that was emotionally draining. And, oh my gosh. Shindo, buddy. Shindo's strong, though. I won't hear anybody else's arguments against it. That's just that his character just skyrocketed in respect for me because that's... And Yuki getting up, I wonder if Yuki was hearing the snow outside and that's why he woke up. And the episode's called Goodbye to This World. So I bet Yuki, since Yuki's a 4th year, if this is his first and last Ekiden too, just like Haiji. So I bet he's like, this is it. It looks like we're getting Yuki and Nico next episode, which maybe that means in 22 we're going to get King and Kakeru. Man, we've not got much on Nico. We've not got much backstory on Nico, and we've gotten a little bit on Yuki, but not too much. But man, I liked in this episode that that we didn't focus all on Hana-chan and her thing with Joda and Joji. I was afraid that was going to take up most of this episode, but this episode was really Shindo's. Which, man, I'm getting really kind of melancholy about this whole show ending because I've loved it from start to finish. And now I'm like, you mean it's almost over? No. No. I want more adventures with these boys. I want to go into their next races and the next years and all that. And can we do that, please? I know Haiji won't be there, but he can come back and visit. Him and Yuki can make guest appearances. I'm starting to get in denial that the show's ending because I don't want it to. I really like it. Man. But hats off to Shindo, man. Hats off. This dude. I just what a somber episode. Like, our team was doing so well. We were in 10th place when Joji started his portion. 10th place. We were in the top 10. We did it. And then of course it can't be that easy. We've got to go right back down to the end and started from the bottom, and now we're here. But I have faith. That was just half the team, so I have faith that, and our best runners are yet to come. So I mean, well, I say our best runners. Kakeru and Haiji are like the best outside of, and Yuki's pretty good, but I mean, King and Nico were towards the end there with Prince. So, oh man, I'm curious what you all thought. This episode was fantastic. The feels, man, the feels and the emotions were all there, and gosh, I'm not ready for it to end. But if you'd like to vote on the show to replace it, that poll is going to be down below. So I'm going to start that poll. It'll be on Patreon, the link there, but it's going to be public so anybody can vote, and it's going to run until episode 23 airs on YouTube. So in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and oh my gosh, guys, I'm not sure if I'm ready for it, but I'm sure when it's time to sit down and watch episode 21, I'm going to be hyped. But I'll see you all then when we watch episode 21 of Run with the Wind. Bye.